Hello, this is Phobel, this is Kenshi, and this is why Kenshi gives no fucks. I mean, I'll be honest, I've never seen a game that enjoys torturing its own player base more than this. And you know what? God damn it, I have respect for that. Absolute veneration for these fucking chads that just kick a man while he's down and spit in his eyes. I mean, I'll be honest, we've dug too deep. We got lost in the sauce. We kept asking for harder and harder games, and now we got this shit. This game has invented new ways of torturing you. You thought the worst thing that could happen was dying and losing all your progress. No, there are lower lows to go to, and god damn it, Kenshi being Kenshi, we will excavate those lows like a fucking quarry. So for today, the poor fuck who's gonna be exploring those depraved depths will be Mr. Phobel, the one-armed wonder. So to begin his epic voyage into the unknown, Mr. Phobel is lost in a desert surrounded by hell spiders and endless slavers, naked and having one arm, but he's alright. So all in all, Kenshi's actually in a pretty good spot right now. So our intrepid adventurer makes it through a cacophony of the worst things that have ever touched this goddamn planet, but thankfully he made it out of the desert, into the adjacent giant desert that is still filled with the same shit. And making it to that secondary desert, he was almost immediately eaten alive. Now, thankfully, instead of being killed when he was being eaten, he was only severely crippled to the point of where he can't walk anymore and is going to slowly starve to death. So yeah, everything's looking up. So awesomely, the nearest civilization is about 800 miles away, and I will starve well before even coming close to that. So the next choice is to A, hope against all hopes that a traitor stumbles over our crawling body, or the more reasonable thing to do is get enslaved and hope they feed us. So it's still looking up. We're doing good. Now, the process of surrendering is very easy. The only thing you have to do is be beaten until you're unconscious. Super easy, super fun. And you know we unlocked a new feature, a new level of depravity. Apparently, I'm too useless to enslave, so they just kind of beat me and throw me back outside. This is fun. So now I'm going to have to break into being a prisoner. I'm going to break into a prison. Hell yeah. Thankfully, unlocked a life hack. If you just kind of beat one of the guards with a club for around 8 minutes straight, eventually they'll want to imprison you. Hell yeah. So now that we're in a cage for the rest of our lives, thankfully we can take inventory and see exactly where we came from. So, we started out in a desert, starving and without an arm. And we've ended up in a cage, kind of starving, without an arm. Basically, we start at the bottom and now we are slightly above the bottom. This is what we call improvement. And if you didn't know, the cool thing about living inside of a cage for the rest of your existence is that you can get really good at picking the lock to said cage, or kind of just messing with your neighbors. This is what we live for. And they immediately threw me in a cage in which I cannot lockpick out of. So basically, I'm stuck here doing nothing for the rest of my existence. I'd compare Mr. Phobel's morale to a depressed tortoise stuck in molasses. Same vibes. And now my patience is rewarded. Like a farmer sowing his crops to harvest, I have fully healed my left leg, so now I can walk again from being mauled 8 days ago. Thank God, I can finally have a chance of escaping if I get out of this cage in which I cannot escape. I'll be back in a bit. A little bit of an update, boys. Basically, they let me out of my cage and then hit me so hard I went through the fucking ceiling and lost my left leg permanently. And then they immediately decided to just beat me up until the point of where I was in a coma. So, things are still looking up. Not quite as bright, but they're looking up. Alrighty, a bit of an update now. So, basically, the plan is they're going to leave me in this cage permanently because I cannot do any physical labor of any kind. They will leave me in a cage until I die. But they will feed me so I cannot die. So you see, this is what we call a paradox of absolute fuckery. You see, in most games, it takes a certain skill to make bad decisions to end up in situations like these. But in Kenshi, after much reflection, I have deduced that the primary cause of many mistakes players make is simply existing. To not exist is the only way for Kenshi not to absolutely fucking rail you. Now, that was where we're gonna leave off Mr. Phobel's story, but how's a new player? What is the experience player experience. What is it like when you obtain a grain of power in this game? Do we do better?
Do we be so bold as to go in the face of the status quo and be rid of the sins and lesser evils made necessary by this backwards and corrupt world we found ourselves in? In a world surrounded by darkness and death, are we the one last vigil, the bastion of life, light and hope against the darkness, the ever-present evil that has corrupted this place we've called home? Do we dare to be greater than our history? No, we don't. What we do is we see an atrocity and say, I can improve that. I can make it bloodier. And we do not keep slaves. We keep permanent interns. It just so happens that I have a lot of interns. I mean, holy shit, I have a lot of interns. You know, I once introduced the Geneva Convention to this world we occupy ourselves in just so I could go ahead and break it in record time. It's actually a lovely competition. My record is 2 minutes, and say what you will, that's kind of fucking slow if you ask me. You know, I'll be honest, it's not really a war crime if there aren't survivors. That's what I've always said. And if for some stupid fucking reason you don't agree with anything I've said so far, I have the ultimate weapon. I only have one thing I need to show you to convince you of our ways. Our God Emperor, the one whose wisdom will never end, whose glory outshines the sun, whose beauty has melted deserts into glass. Emperor Babe, the ever loyal, undeniable, unbreakable apocalypse of gods.
I do think it's a scientific impossibility to find someone who dislikes our Lord, Chadicus Bepicus, the thirst of his name. And this is the end of the video, and thank you for getting this far through my inane bullshit. But I actually have a reason for showing my face at the end of this video. There's 2 things I need from you. The first one being any game recommendations, either you want me to play them or make a funny video on them or just review them. Let me know. Top comment will most likely be my next video. This channel will be a democracy, and we all love democracies until I become a power-hungry psychopath and then like Galactic Emperor. You know the storyline. You know the arc. The second thing is I am at war with the YouTube algorithm. You see, my existence in itself is the antithesis of where the website wants to take it. The not afraid to cuss and say whatever the hell I want on videos and not censor comment sections has really rubbed them wrong. So anything you can do to destroy the YouTube algorithm, like the video, comment on it, you know, really make it a high interactivity video of something that YouTube really doesn't want anyone to see. That'd really fuck with them. So if you could do that for me, I would be so very appreciative. Other than that, I'll leave you alone and stop annoying you with my bullshit. Goodbye, and thank you for watching. Holy fucking bedhead. I didn't even look at the camera. I look like shit.